Valentine's Day is a holiday celebrated every February 14th, across the United States and in other places around the world. Candy, flowers, and gifts are exchanged between loved ones, all in the name of St. Valentine. The holiday itself was created by people across the United States to mark the Day of Love. But who is this mysterious saint and where did these traditions come from? The history of Valentine's Day and the story of its patron saint is shrouded in mystery. What is known is the month of February has long been celebrated as a month of romance by early Christians and Roman traditions. St. Valentine's Day, as we know it today, contains a hybrid tradition. But who was St. Valentine, and how did he become associated with this ancient rite of love and fertility? The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred for their beliefs. One legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome, when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers and so outlawed marriage for young men across the Holy Roman Empire. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, feeling love between a man and a woman, regardless of the age, was a sacred thing, and not even an emperor has the right to defile the will of God in bringing 2 people together. Alas, Valentinus continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Other beliefs insist that it was Saint Valentine of Terni, a bishop, who was the true namesake of the holiday. He, too, was beheaded by Claudius II outside Rome. Other stories suggest that Valentine may have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured. According to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine sent the first greeting himself to a young girl that he had fallen madly in love with and had frequently visited him during his confinement. It is believed that this was the daughter of one of the jailers. The truth behind the Valentine legends is still rather murky, with no direct reason to believe one story or another. It does still depict in all accounts a sympathetic, heroic, chivalrous, and romantic figure. By the Middle Ages, perhaps thanks to this reputation, Valentine would become one of the most popular saints in England and France, more so with France in fact than any other nation. While some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death or burial, others claim that the Christian Church may have decided to place St. Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. Celebrated at the Ides of February, or February 15th, Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as to the Roman founders Romulus and Remus. Much like the celebration of Christmas had been adopted prior, by taking the pagan celebration of Yule. To begin the festival, members of the Luperci, an order of Roman priests, would gather at a sacred cave where the infants Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were believed to have been cared for by a she-wolf or Luper. The priests would sacrifice a goat, for fertility, and a dog, for purification. They would then strip the goat's hide into strips, dip them into the sacrificial blood and take to the streets, gently slapping both women and crop fields with the goat hide. Far from being fearful, Roman women welcomed the touch of the hides because it was believed to make them more fertile in the coming year. Later in the day, according to legend, all the young women in the city would place their names in a big urn. The city's bachelors would each choose a name and become paired for the year with his chosen woman. These matches often ended in marriage. Lupercalia survived the initial rise of Christianity but was outlawed as it was deemed unchristian at the end of the 5th century, when Pope Gelasius declared February 14th St. Valentine's Day. It was not until much later, however, that the day became definitively associated with love. During the Middle Ages, it was commonly believed in France and England that February 14th was the beginning of birds' mating season, which added to the idea that the middle of Valentine's Day should be a day for romance. The English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem Parliament of Fowls, writing, "For this was sent on St. Valentine's Day when every fowl cometh there to choose his mate." Valentine greetings were popular as far back as the Middle Ages, though written valentines didn't begin to appear until after 1400. The oldest known valentine still in existence today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London following his capture at the Battle of Agincourt. The greeting is now part of the manuscript collection of the British Library in London, England. Several years later, it is believed that King Henry V hired a writer named John Ligeate to compose a Valentine note to Catherine of Valois. Cupid is often portrayed on Valentine's Day cards as a naked cherub launching arrows of love at unsuspecting lovers. But the Roman god Cupid has his roots in Greek mythology as the Greek god of love, Eros. Accounts of his birth vary. Some say he is the son of Nyx and Erebus. Others, of Aphrodite and Ars. Still others suggest he is the son of Iris and Zephyrus, or even Aphrodite and Zeus, who would have been both his father and grandfather. According to the Greek archaic poets, Eros was a handsome immortal played with the emotions of gods and men, using golden arrows to incite love and leaden ones to sow aversion. It wasn't until the Hellenistic period that he began to be portrayed as the mischievous, chubby child he'd become on Valentine's Day cards. In addition to the United States, Valentine's Day is celebrated in Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day began to be popularly celebrated around the 17th century. By the middle of the 18th, it was common for friends and lovers of all social classes to exchange small tokens of affection or handwritten notes, and by 1900 printed cards began to replace written letters due to improvements in printing technology. Ready-made cards were an easy way for people to express their emotions in a time when direct expression of one's feelings was discouraged. Cheaper postage rates also contributed to an increase in the popularity of sending Valentine's Day greetings. Americans probably began exchanging handmade valentines in the early 1700s. In the 1840s, Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced valentines in America. Howland, known as the mother of the Valentine, made elaborate creations with real lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures known as scrap.